Could Neuvillette be a clue to unlocking Pierro's identity? One of the topics I've tried to tiptoe around are the rumors surrounding Neuvillette and who he is in terms of Genshin's story. While nothing is confirmed at this stage, thanks to the 4.0 trailers, it is looking very likely that at least the rumor concerning Neuvillette being the Hydro Dragon could be true. I mentioned in another video that based on Neuvillette's design, there is no visible vision anywhere on his body. That doesn't mean that Hoyo can't add one later, but looking at the character sheet that was leaked a while back, we can see he has no vision. This is further supported by the 2 trailers Hoyo has released for Fontaine. So how does this tie into Pierro? In comparing Neuvillette to Pierro, we can see quite a few physical similarities between the two, enough to suggest that perhaps Neuvillette could be Pierro in disguise. Seeing as Arlecchino and Child aren't the most trusted of harbingers, it would make sense that Pierro is personally overseeing the retrieval of the Hydronosis, especially knowing that Focalors can be unpredictable. The only trouble is, it doesn't seem like Pierro's style. With the endgame rapidly approaching, I imagine Pierro has better things to do than babysit one Archon, let alone 2. One of the other more senior Harbingers is perfectly capable of handling Focalors should he need them to. Instead, I'd like to propose a different theory. Pierro and Neuvillette aren't the same person, they're the same species, meaning that if Neuvillette is the Hydro Dragon, then Pierro could be one of the other dragons. We know thanks to a pep that the Hydro Dragon wasn't the only one to be reborn. The other she mentions by name is none other than the Dragon King, Nibelung. Pierro being Nibelung would provide an explanation for quite a few questions surrounding him. Why was he not favored by a past ruler? Nibelung has a long history with the gods of Teyvat. Since the ruler is not specified, he could be referring to Ermin, or he could be talking about Phanes. Why would the Sarita make a deal to overthrow Celestia with someone who is just a mage? Why do the Harbingers and the rest of the Fatui follow Pierro to begin with? Because even in a weakened human state, Nibelung has enough power to pose a threat to the world, and in gathering the Gnosis, he can only make himself stronger. What are Pierro's powers? We have zero information on what Pierro's actual powers are, but in a Winter Night's Lazo, we see one of the chess pieces being moved by an unknown person and an unknown element. The TCG lore reveals the unknown element to be the Omni or Light element, and thanks to Dottore, we have evidence that suggests that Pierro has some kind of telekinetic capability, or at the very least Pierro and Dottore are mentally linked, which is frightening to consider. As the Dragon King, it makes sense that Pierro would have the capability to use all the elements, not just one. But there's something else that we need to remember. According to a pep, the Dragon King also acquired the power of darkness. Since the power is alien to Teyvat, Nibelung could have bound the power into something like, a ring? And could have lost said ring upon his death, only to attempt to recover it many years later. In the Hymn of Tiri-Azad World Quest, Zervan tells us about a golden-haired swordsman that the Pari saved post-Cataclysm. When they found him, he was clutching a ring. Many have speculated that this could be both Dainsleif and the Ring of Nibelung. In comparing Pierro and Dainsleif's level of abyssal corruption, we can see that it is almost identical, even to the point that it was almost like the two were facing each other at the time that they were corrupted. Could either Pierro or Dainsleif have tried to use the ring during or at the start of the Cataclysm and failed thanks to the other, with Dainsleif taking the ring with him, leading to a chase that has lasted 500 years? Lastly, the theory of Pierro being the Dragon King also provides an explanation on how Pierro is in possession of specific forbidden knowledge and how he could be immune from changes to Irminsul. A pep's history of the world is different from the one we are being shown in-game. That suggests that, like the Descenders, the dragons could also be resistant to changes made to Irminsul and therefore remember Teyvat's true history. So what do you think? Could Pierro be the Dragon King?